Okay, guys, let's go ahead and look at the stock market. We'll start off with the tech stocks. We'll look at gold. I had a subscriber ask me about gold, so we'll take a look at that. Kind of browse around some various sectors, and we'll wrap up. So last week, pretty slow week. I mean, it makes sense. Holiday week. We had shortened trading days last week. And in general, most people were away from their desk, and myself included, wasn't extremely tuned into the market. I did kind of keep an eye on it, but in general, we weren't doing anything. So flat last week. Here's triple Qs. You can see we continue to just really still in that kind of holiday sleepy trading right there, just grinding around sideways. So no change really today, giving us an indication of price direction. We are starting to see the PPO starting to roll over. I'm watching that. Here, let me zoom in. I'll expand that. You can see it's starting to kind of turn over right there. So if we continue lower, you can see we will still have that negative divergence. So if I zoom out, you'll see here, here's your former high right here. And I know my chart's a little messy, but there's your former high on the daily chart going back. Not the all-time high, but just the kind of former high, which was back in July of this year. And we just slightly exceeded that right here over the last few days, just barely. You can see there on Monday and really just the holiday trading week of last week, just slightly exceeded that. But the momentum is just not really there. And you can see, even if you take against the former high, let me drag this divergence down. There's your former high, and we still have kind of an equal / lower high. It's actually a slightly lower if I zoom in. There it is right there. So that is still a divergent high, and we have negative divergence on the daily. So I think we're topping out. Looks like this is likely we're going to get a pullback. I think it's very likely we get a pullback, and we just need to see some sort of a sell signal. There is also, it's interesting, I'm noticing on the triple Qs, and I'm kind of cleaning up my chart, but I'm noticing right here, you can see this is pretty much the holiday trading and leading up to the holiday trading. We gapped up right there. We've been trading sideways. If we see a gap down, which we don't have that yet, but if we do see it, then we're going to have an island cluster top. And that's a reversal pattern, and they're usually pretty good. So if you see a gap down, that means that this was, we can trade it as if it's the top and a major top, you know, a trend trade essentially. So we'll look for that. If we get that, then we're likely going a lot lower. So if that shows up, I'll let you guys know. Otherwise, you know, we're still just kind of grinding around. Let's look at these or I'll do the SPY analysis as well. I know people like to look at that one. Again, SPY analysis from my perspective is not a whole lot different than analyzing the triple Qs, because these are both market cap weighted, and the tech stocks are the largest in both. So they, you know, the large tech stocks make up, you know, it's really a couple stocks make up the majority of weighting in the SPY and the triple Qs. So but the SPY, we have not made an equal high yet, or a slightly higher high. There's your, if we pop over this level 459, make that new high, then we would have that divergence. Zooming in on the PPO, we're about equal right here on the momentum. So we could kind of grind around, and you know, you might see price pop over while momentum kind of fades. That's completely possible. I can't say it's a divergent high yet because the price hasn't hit a new high. We would want to see that before we could confirm that. So that's all I really have. And resistance is, you know, just slightly there, 459. So could go either way. Could see like a slight little pop over that, and then a fade is what I would expect. Yeah, so again, we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on those tech stocks. And flipping over to the tech stocks, you'll see here Amazon. Amazon has that negative divergence. So if I just kind of clean up my chart here, you can see there is the divergence. All right, we've got, let me just get my line there, negative divergence on the PPO and on the RSI. So we're making a higher high in price, higher than the former high, and yet momentum is lower. Okay, so negative divergence there on Amazon. just slightly above resistance. The resistance line that I had, if I kind of expand it out, we're just slightly above it. Again, this is holiday trading, and it looks like stop raid action. Okay, to pop above resistance on a holiday weekend or holiday week, and just, it's not going anywhere. It's just popped above it, run a bunch of stops, and then I think we roll over. So if I roll out on Amazon, big resistance. I've got that resistance level marked going all the way back to really 2020. You can see resistance. All right, we chopped through it a little, but then it was support back then. And then it's resistance here, resistance, and we're pretty much in the area. All right, to see them pop it, that makes sense, especially on a holiday week. Low volume, algos can run, and the algos and the market makers can pop key levels, run a bunch of stops, and that's what this looks like it's doing before it's about to roll over. If Amazon rolls over, I would expect triple Qs to roll over. Bigger picture also on Amazon, if we go back to the weekly, because I know a lot of people think we're in a brand new bull market, and that's typically what good strong bear market rallies will do. But this is a weekly chart of Amazon. This is going all the way back to its IPO of 1997. That's a very long, extended bull run in Amazon, and that is broken. All right, that trend that was intact since its IPO has been broken. All right, and we have a break of trend, resistance, and we're basically trading kind of right in that area where I think we're about to roll over. All right, and continue lower. Google, can't make too much of Google. I mean, we do have this bearish rising wedge here, and the widest part of the wedge, which was about right there, we didn't quite hit the target, so I think we could go a little lower, make another run lower. We didn't hit that measured target. You don't have to hit it, but it's usually a decent indicator of where price is likely going. We don't, we had negative, this was the last divergent high right here. That's a divergent high, all right? So we had negative divergence, building for a while. We broke the wedge, back tested with a divergent high. I said that was a very objective area to short Google. And from there, you got a drop of 15% in pretty short order, okay? Seeing a counter trend rally. I do think we've started a downtrend, all right? This looks like an uptrend here. Looks like we broke that uptrend on the break of the wedge, back test, and we're going to start to roll over. So to keep that intact, we'd want to it's pretty simple. You don't really want to go over the recent highs, all right? You want to make a series of lower highs and lower lows. So to keep the lower highs intact, you really wouldn't want to take out these highs right here. So could pop maybe slightly above, but ultimately I wouldn't want to see much above 139. I'd want to keep that intact and really start to roll over. Microsoft definitely looks like one of the stronger stocks. I don't have a super strong divergence and a very strong negative divergence. We had bullish divergence right here. That was when we hit those lows right here, and that has played out. We have seen a rally off of that divergence. We're starting to potentially build some negative divergence just recently, but it's, that could extend for a little while. So this is definitely one that, and this is a big one because it's, very heavily weighted. I think it's number 2 just behind Apple. And it doesn't necessarily have the most bearish chart. So mixed on that one. I don't have a strong feeling or indication on Microsoft. Apple continues to, Apple looks very similar to the triple Qs. To me, it looks like we haven't quite made a new high, so we could obviously run up and make a new high. And that would be a divergent high if it happened anytime soon. Otherwise, we roll over here and we will continue to start that lower highs, lower lows and lower highs. We definitely have lower lows, and we're kind of making an equal high right here. So a little mixed on this one as well. I'll continue to kind of dive in on it. And again, that's why I'm not calling for a super strong short at the moment. We've got potential setups going back to the triple Qs. We've got the potential of that island reversal top. We don't have that yet. So if I see that, then, you know, I think we'll see a little bit stronger signals across the board, like sell signals. Right now, we just don't have it. So I'm not, you know, I'm not calling for, you know, if anything, it's kind of a hold. I would say a neutral position. It doesn't make sense to be long when we're this extended, at least from my perspective, but it equally doesn't make sense to probably short, at least fully quite yet. Maybe a starting short position. NVIDIA, this is a big one. It continues to kind of diverge higher. So you can see equal high right here from the former high, and we have just negative divergence building and building and building. So this one's going to likely break soon, but we need to see a sell signal. We've got this uptrend to watch. So you can see here, support, hit it again right there. So that would be my sell signal. I think we'll probably continue to grind sideways to down, hit the trend line, probably get another reaction. The bulls will be sitting there. But ultimately, we break that trend line. That's going to be the sell signal I'd be looking for. Okay, gold. So this is the gold miners, GDX. We're having a breakout day today right now, breaking out above the 200-day. That's pretty impulsive buying too, up 4%. That's a good strong move in across the board in GDX. And I don't see any real divergence. I see decently strong momentum. So it does look bullish to me, and it's definitely not something I'd want to be shorting. It looks like there's probably a little more upside here. When I look at Newmont, this is the largest miner, and it's the most heavily weighted in GDX as well. But on Newmont, we have this bullish falling wedge here. I've talked about this pattern over the last few weeks, how it looked bullish, and we had bullish divergence that was building. And we also had it start to show up there on the RSI. So that was the last divergent low, rallied up to resistance and breakout today. That looks like a buy signal to me on Newmont. All right, all the miners don't look the same as this. This looked like one of the most bullish ones, especially like when we were down here at support. I continue to say this is a bullish falling wedge with bullish divergence. So that's objective to buy at support, or it's objective to buy on a breakout of resistance. So it's objective here as well. And gold futures, on the gold futures GC, I've got resistance up here at about, if I can get my, right there, at about 1285 on GC. And that is where I think this is likely heading, up to that resistance. If I zoom out, that's big resistance. Eventually it's likely going to break out. So you'll see here on the daily chart, look, that's resistance, triple top. You get up there again, I think you're going to break out. All right, so that's what it looks like. It looks to me like that's the likely outcome on gold, that it's about to break out. And if I go to something like GLD, or actually just gold bullion, I think is one that I've charted quite a bit in the past. This is gold bullion. If I roll out, I have to go to the weekly for kind of a longer term analysis, but you'll see here, you'll see if I roll out, this is a long-term bullish pattern. Now long-term, this is going all the way back to 2001. You have a big strong leg up, you then enter a bear market, but this is a rounding bottom. All right, it's an accumulation pattern. So this was a big, long 7-year rounding bottom, and then we break out, or you could call it like a cup and handle, where you have kind of the cup, and then you start to make the handle, and but to me it looks like a rounding bottom, and then ultimately we have this area of resistance, which is just right up here. So a breakout above, that would very likely, bigger picture, indicate that we've started the next leg higher in this big pattern, which could be, a long bullish trend, something like that, as it continues to break higher. So definitely looks, that's longer term, looks bullish, but again, you got to break out above this level. We need to see a nice definitive breakout above that triple top, and then we'll evaluate that at that time. Okay, wheat. So wheat, this is the wheat ETN. It really trades the futures. They buy and sell the futures, trying to mimic the futures. Drifting lower slightly, but Again, I've been saying it for months, I guess. The bullish divergence still remains intact, so there's no technical change. You know, each new low, when you make a new low like we did yesterday, they're divergent lows. And, you know, I'd rather want to be looking to be long on a divergent low than a high, you know, than shorting. So you'll see that the bullish divergence continues to build. All right, so that still looks good. And then when you look at the wheat futures, ZW, there's really no technical change here. All right, so keep an eye on the futures. If you're in the ETN and you're getting discouraged because it kind of is drifting lower, that's because they're having to, you know, cycle into those futures. So there's, you know, a little bit of I wouldn't say decay, but ultimately maybe a little bit of cost associated to that. But then the futures are still looking fine. They're basing. We've got bullish divergence building, and in general, to me, it looks like the futures are constructive. We don't have that breakout yet. We need to see a break above this kind of key level of resistance right here. But ultimately, we break, we should run. All right, and I would, you know, the wheat ETN should do the same. So I still like it long. Trade idea here, I've talked about it. I'll continue to talk about it as it looks very constructive. This is a short trade setup, LLY. You'll see here we have nice upward price channel. We have negative divergence building. All right, that's a nice clean divergence there. We need a sell signal, which we don't have yet. We need to break trend line support, which is down here. You can see support, 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 and we're just kind of trading there now, just hovering on support. No sell signal, we're just waiting for that one. And if we get it, there's some gaps to fill. I think very likely you're going to head down to this 502-ish, get a bounce there, and then ultimately fill this gap. It's a very obvious gap, so you might get close to it before the buyers try to step in. But yeah, that's what I'd be looking for on that one. Another trade idea I've continued to point out that I like is Visa, V. You can see here, bearish rising wedge, break of the wedge, back test right here. While the back test is also a divergent high, you'll see we're making new higher high in price, while kind of an equal high or lower high in momentum. And I think that is a divergent high. So back test with divergence, that's objective as a short right there for the next move lower. All right, it's going to take time. This doesn't happen in one day. You know, sometimes they can trade and back test for days to weeks. So we'll have to just continue to let that do its thing. If you want to be conservative, you could wait for an impulsive rejection, some sort of like a gap down or a big red candle. That could be your sell signal. Netflix continues to look like a pretty objective short trade. So on Netflix, this is the daily chart. You've got a nice clean upward channel. Okay. We have negative divergence that was building for a while right here, indicating that we're likely going to see a trend reversal. We then got the sell signal or a break of trend. I pointed this out to the private member group. So, you know, that was your sell signal right there. And from there, the thing dropped, you know, 17%. We then right into earnings, gapped up. We're getting a counter trend rally right now. This rally is making a new high or equal high from the former high here, and we're just extending the divergence. We haven't really negated that. We're just extending it. So if I go like that and just go like that, then there you go. You still have negative divergence. PPO looks like it's about to cross over right there. Hasn't yet, but you start to see that. That will help confirm that divergence is just extended and it's not going to be burned through. And that would be, you know, that would be just another confirmation. So here's how I see this one playing out. We are likely going to get that PPO crossover soon. We haven't done a full back test of the trend line. We're close. They might pop it up one of these days and hit that trend line. It's about 2 to 2.5% upside to hit that right now. So they're just kind of hovering below it. Maybe they're going to pop it up. But if you see that, that's likely going to be the end of the uptrend and probably going to start to go lower from there. So that would be an objective short. It's objective even here, even though, you know, you might have to ride out a little pop higher. Still pretty objective from a longer swing trading perspective. So keep an eye on that. But I think we're going to roll over soon and, you know, continue to make the next leg lower. So, Okay, that's really all I have for today. I'm continuing to scan and look for possible trade setups or actionable trades, so I'll get those out to you guys when I see them. All right, take care. Thanks.